lot of upset people. What is your general feeling on just the budget itself and where it stands right now?
The budget stands as we presented it tonight at the 25-1. It's unfortunate that the public was asked to pay that amount, but that's what the bills went out, and that's what they're at the counter paying. It would have been my approach not to introduce it with the 25-1. It would have been my approach to introduce it substantially less. I brought, again, you talk about bringing things to the public eye and bringing things to vocalize it, and I've been vocalizing, this when we went through the process that we did in the 07 budget. And when we started this budget in October, I brought it to the commissioner's attention. And I brought it through the commissioner's attention through memorandums and through correspondences and through conversations and through PowerPoint presentations. And whether the spirit of cooperation wasn't there or the ability to go a different direction was chosen by the other two. So it would have been my opinion not to even introduce it at the 25 cents. It would have been introduced much less. But unfortunately, you run into cash flow issues. The city is funded by taxpayer dollar, and you were then forced at the 24th hour to introduce a budget, and that's what happened in June.
What would you like to get it down to? Obviously, you said you wouldn't have introduced it at 25 cents. How would you have gotten it down?
There were several suggestions done. There were several suggestions made, including hiring freezes, including looking into labor council, including vehicle restrictions, and a lot of these things may be ceremonial, and I admit it, but at least it would have given you a baseline to work upon. So if we brought in labor council and he gave an X amount of money of what you might or might not have saved, then you could at least oscillate it from that, and you could have reduced that 25 cents accordingly, or you could have chosen another direction. But unfortunately, those facets were never even explored. If we had the opportunity to introduce a budget earlier, we could have applied for extraordinary aid. That was not a course of action that was taken. So for me to now say what would I have done 6 or 7 months later is almost fruitless, because you're not going to see the result that what you would have done if you planned for this, which I presented in October.
So we'll talk about what's going on now. Mayor Triano spoke about a land sale kind of a way, and it's been a temporary fix that has been used in the past. It just seems that just trying to get through the high-rises, it seems to be the message. It seems putting everything in one basket, as a lot of people have said, and also the fact that, there really is no other way looking to try to fix the overall problem of bringing a revenue stream. Would you agree with that?
I would disagree with that. First of all, I go back to Brendan Byrne. You don't take on a debt service you don't have a revenue to pay for it for. The ability to say that something might or might not be coming is easy when someone else is funding it. And what happens here is that the vision is not planned out. And no one's against vertical development, and no one's against the influx of ratables. But the problem is that you're asking the taxpayer to fund a badly planned execution of somebody's vision. It's done without transparency. It's done without the ability to vocalize for the public, and I find it a little bit disappointing at this point that we've almost painted ourselves into the corner. Now, if there is some sort of land sale, I wish I could tell you that I couldn't tell you. He talks about confidentiality agreements. I have not yet seen anything. I parallel it back to the liquor licenses that were in the budget that were not even created, but yet they were presented as that was the quick fix and that was what was going to bring in some of this revenue. So I look at it from a different sense of the public. I look at it from a daily operation, and I see these things transpire consecutively, and I get worried. And I get worried that we are painted ourselves into the corner, that now we're dependent on a land sale. And we do our worst negotiation at our highest stress points. And if we're stressed out now and we're willing to undersell land, then I think then the community then gets a continuation of the victimization, and I think that's disappointing.
One last question, and I should address this to the mayor as well, but I can address it to you because you're a part of the decision-making process. He made the comment that the convention center, if you're able to bring in with these high rises, you'll be able to bring in more things, and that it's good to come to Wildwood in the off season because there is nothing to do. That's why people want to come here. Well, isn't that the wrong way to look at it? Shouldn't there be things to do here throughout the year and reasons for people to want to come here throughout the year?
These terms, it's good and there's more and there's a lot, are so abstract that when you look at people's lives and you affect them through their financial mobilities and their financial gains, and you start taking away their sensibility to involve themselves in government, becomes very dangerous. What I personally believe that the town can grow, but you have to have a very stable funding source. Just like if you were doing your own personal business, just like if you're doing a private business, or if any underfunded business is going to fail because you're basing it on hopes and dreams. And the miracles that happen may, but 99% of the time they don't. And you're stuck with the debt and the hindrance and all the other encumbrances that are left from that particular path you took. And for me, that's very scary. So the same thing with tax abatements for these high rises. We are living above our means within the city. My feeling and my sense of this budget is that we are outspending our ratables, even if we get the high rises, and until we correct it and until we correct that philosophy, you're going to continue to see this trend in continuing the higher taxes and larger budgets.
Thanks a lot, Commissioner.
All right?
Yep.